this is like a box of air. You know, we don't get no news, no talk, no nothing.
During a call with DJ Academics, Lil Durk discusses his bizarre prison circumstances. Though it's clear that the young man is going through a lot, Durk also disclosed some details that might significantly impact his case. Let's discuss it behind the wall and how he has been fighting the matter ever since he was booked at Miami International Airport. While incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, Lil Durk pleaded not guilty to all allegations in a Los Angeles federal court on November 14, 2024. Because of the intricacy of the case, which involves 20,000 pages of documentation and more than 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, his trial was rescheduled from January 7, 2025 to October 14, 2025. Prosecutors have consistently refused Durk's bail, arguing that he is a flight risk because of his intentions to travel to Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy, among other charges that connect him to another. The judge rejected his defense team's $3 million bail proposal, which included house arrest and property, on December 12, 2024. How has Smirk's life been on lockdown, with minimal jail calls and music releases? We got a sneak peek at Durk's offer in a jail call that was posted online. Durk reportedly talked of refusing PC protective custody during a call, which some academics said was a bold step for such a well-known prisoner. Published in April 2025, on X, previously Twitter, Durk claimed that since being imprisoned, he hasn't heard any of the tracks from his upcoming album Deep Thoughts. We hear Durk talking about his daily routine behind the wall in a second recorded call that seems to be from late April 2025. Listen, please.
No, ain't nothing changed, bro. I just been focused on life, you know, my family and stuff like that. I'm trying to learn how to speak Arabic again.
Wait, how you learn that? Like, how do you get to learn that? You got classes?
You said, no, it's a couple guys there that know how to speak Arabic fluently. So I'm just learning the different words and, you know, tighten up my Arabic, just getting my knowledge.
A quick look at Durk's daily routine shows that he is trying to stay productive by learning Arabic from other inmates and, based on other sources, playing 2v2 to keep active. Not all of Durk's conversations while detained, though, have been truthful. According to sources, he has not been following jail regulations regarding phone use, being caught on three-way calls even though he was told not to at the MDC in Los Angeles. His chances of getting released on bond were harmed by the prosecutor's use of his disobedience as proof. About his album Deep Thoughts, Durk wrote on X on March 28, 2025. I wasn't going to put this out, but then I remembered the Streets lead. This not, it's to be outside with you guys when I drop. But I know I'll feel your love and energy through these walls. The album peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200, proving that his fan base is still behind him despite his legal troubles. Durk also reportedly spoke from the pen in a phone call that was featured on Hypno Caro's song, Where Smirk Go, which was released on November 1st, 2024. In the call, Durk called Caro a brother and reaffirmed his loyalty to only his family, but some fans on X claimed that the voice didn't sound like the real Durk. Now let's talk about the legal battle that's happening as Durk's team fights to free him, led by lawyer Drew Finley, who is known for getting rappers out of jams. Prosecutors cited Durk's verse on Babyface Ray's December 2022 song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, citing lyrics such as, told me they got an attractive location, go green light, go go, and a reference to someone shouting no no as evidence that these bars were celebrating the shooting. Durk's attorneys countered that the song was recorded in January 2022, 7 months prior to the August charges, and filed motions to dismiss the superseding indictment and take his detention into consideration. In the second major argument, the prosecution argues that Quando Rondo's No from a news clip is included in the song, but Durk's team argues that this is based on fan-made YouTube edits rather than the original track, claiming that Durk had nothing to do with the edits and that the government failed to link Durk to these altered versions, calling them fake video clips from random internet users. The prosecution argues that the lyrics cannot be about the incident because the 2022 shooting is supported by sworn statements from producers, including Juice Vibes, and this timeline makes it impossible for the lyrics to be about the incident. Durk's team filed for his release on bond, offering $2.3 million in Georgia property equity and $1 million in cash from Sony Music. Judge Patricia Donahue approved the bond hearing on May 8, 2025, although an earlier bond request was denied, adding to Durk's legal troubles in February 2025. The motion claims that the prosecution's use of this false evidence is egregious misconduct that interferes with the grand jury's protective function. The defense argues that these errors are serious enough to dismiss the entire indictment. A 2023 FBI affidavit links Durk to a second uncharged murder-for-hire plot targeting Stefan Mack, a suspected Gangster Disciples member in Chicago in 2022, which is reportedly linked to the 2021 murder of Durk's brother, Dante Banks. Although Durk has not been charged for this second alleged plot, prosecutors have used this information to argue that Durk is a flight risk and should be held in custody. In addition to the murder-for-hire case involving Quando Rondo, Durk is also facing other legal issues. His mother filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, his business manager F, and a related company in Cook County Court, alleging that Durk planned the targeted attack that killed Robinson. The trial is set for October 14, 2025, and will be closely watched by the hip-hop community and legal observers. If found guilty, Durk faces a possible life sentence. As we await the resolution of his bond hearing on May 8, 2025, and the trial itself, it is clear that this case is bigger than just one artist and highlights the complex relationship between hip-hop artists. Durk also raises more serious questions about the use of rap lyrics as evidence in criminal trials, a practice that is increasingly being questioned by critics who argue that it disrespects the art form and treats lyrics as literal confessions, unfairly targeting hip-hop artists for their creative expression. While this isn't the first time we've seen the film, mad rappers have been imprisoned for allegedly participating in gang violence and street feuds. Let's look at a few cases that are similar to Durk's situation. Melly, a Florida rapper connected to the G-Shine Bloods, was arrested in February 2019 for allegedly murdering his friends and YNW. According to members Christopher W. Juvie Thomas and Anthony W. Sackchaser Williams, the DA says the bodies were connected to internal gang politics. Melly's first trial ended in a mistrial in July 2023, and he is currently in jail awaiting a retrial in September 2025. Similarly, Durk Melly's case involves accusations of orchestrating gang-related violence, with prosecutors using his affiliations and music as evidence. Additionally, TK, a Texas rapper connected to the Daytona Boys gang in Arlington, was arrested in 2016 after he and his crew targeted an op during a lick, which resulted in Ethan Walker's body in 2019. TK was found guilty of murder and aggravated robbery, earning a 55-year sentence. Perhaps the most well-known parallel is Young Thug, who was arrested in May 2022 on charges of operating Young Stoner Life, YSL, as a Bloods-affiliated criminal organization charged with RICO and gang-related offenses, and after more than 2 years in prison, entered a plea in October. Similarly, K Flock, a drill rapper from the Bronx who was affiliated with the Sevside gang and was arrested in 2021 for the murder of Oscar Hernandez, allegedly related to a feud with the rival DOA gang. Flock was found guilty in 2024 and faces a sentence of possible life in prison. These cases all show how gang feuds, which are often stoked by tough talk on tracks and social media, can result in actual violence and serious legal repercussions. C Murder, a New Orleans rapper signed to No Limit Records, was convicted of second-degree murder in 2009 for killing 16-year-old Steve Thomas at a club. Despite ongoing appeals and accusations of prosecutorial misconduct, C Murder was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of release. Emphasize how prosecutors often use the music videos and affiliations of rappers as evidence, potentially mistaking artistic expression for criminal confessions. Now, let's examine the specific feud that allegedly led to Durk's current situation. The conflict between NBA YoungBoy's Never Broke Again, NBA Camp, and Lil Durk's Only Family Set, which intensified after King Von, one of Durk's closest friends, in an FN, was killed in a shooting outside an Atlanta club in November 2020. Details of the fight between NBA YoungBoy and Durk that night are necessary to understand what happened after King Vaughn allegedly pressed Quando Rondo outside the club where Von Lou Tim's man, Timothy Lou Tim, caused the shootings. Tim was charged with murder but was released in 2021 after prosecutors ruled that it was self-defense, a decision that reportedly had Durk and the F Camp ready for war after Van's death. Rondo released a song that may have been me criticizing Lil Durk and King Von and bringing up the shooting. Rondo tried to resolve the conflict by DMing Durk, asking that they talk things out, but these attempts seem to have failed. Lil Durk allegedly hinted at having the opportunity to smoke NBA Youngboy in Utah in an unreleased track from 2023, further escalating their rivalry. The industry side of this rivalry added another level of complexity to social media posts that claimed Lil Durk tried to blackball NBA Youngboy and Quando Rondo on Apple Music, telling the platform, "If y'all are with those dudes, don't be with me." While there isn't any hard evidence, it indicates Durk was trying to cut off their industry connections. Ultimately, federal prosecutors claimed that Durk's desire for exact revenge for King Von's death led him to put a bag on Quando Rondo's head, which resulted in the murder. Music and social media have been fuel on this fire, amplifying the beef and turning personal grudges into public spectacles. And fan theories, fake news, and edited videos have further complicated this situation, as evidenced by Durk's defense, against the lyric-based evidence. This tragic series of events, which started with competitive bars and social media flexing and ended with him facing life in the feds, demonstrates the dangerous combination of rap beef and real street violence. The beef between these artists reflects deeper issues in drill music and Chicago's gang culture, where getting revenge for fallen homies is often a code that trumps legal consequences. What does all of this mean for Lil Durk's legacy in hip-hop? If convicted, Durk could spend the rest of his days behind bars, ending one of the most promising careers in modern rap. The artist who called himself the voice of Chicago would be silenced with his musical hits. Perhaps most tragically, despite his Grammy for All My Life 2024 and commercial victories, Durk maintained his ties to F and Chicago street life, a loyalty that many fans respected, but others saw as a ticking time bomb. This is in contrast to peers like Chief Keef, who moved away from the block after blowing up, a decision that may have contributed to his downfall. Although his legal troubles have overshadowed his legacy, Durk remains a powerful figure in the music industry, as evidenced by his album Deep Thoughts, which was released in March 2025, while he was incarcerated, and debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, indicating that his fan base continues to follow him. His impact on drill music and beyond is indisputable, having defined the sound of modern hip-hop with his melodic approach to street narratives. Durk's case also raises important questions about the relationship between art and reality in hip-hop, as critics contend that prosecutors unfairly single out the genre by using rap lyrics as evidence, treating artistic expression as a literal admission. According to our latest information, Durk remains in federal custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, pending his trial on October 14, 2025, and bond hearing on May 8, 2025. Academics such as Eric Nielsen contend that his arrest misrepresents the nature of musical storytelling beyond the legal and artistic issues. His fall has infuriated fans and commentators, particularly in light of his efforts to promote peace through his mentorship work and Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. His arrest prompted Broadview, Illinois, to revoke an honorary key they had given him, expressing the community's dissatisfaction with someone many perceived as a success story from the trenches. This case illustrates the high stakes of drill beefs and the system's approach to rap-related violence. The most agonizing part of Lil Durk's life was his feud with Quando Rondo, which began after King Von's death and escalated through public dices and alleged revenge plots, landing him in federal custody facing life in prison while his defense contests the evidence. We must look back and analyze Durk's journey from the dangerous blocks of Englewood to hip-hop stardom, and how the street life he never fully left finally caught up with him, and fully comprehend how Chuck's voice ended. Up in federal custody. Lil Durk was born on October 19, 1992, in the rough and tumble of Englewood, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods on Chicago's South Side. On October 24, 2024, the Fed seized him at Miami International Airport just as he was ready to board a private plane to Italy. Young Durk was thrown into the real world at a young age because his father was imprisoned when he was only 7 months old. His mother, a nurse, tried her best to keep him off the streets, but as a teenager, Durk joined the Black Disciples gang and graduated from Paul Robeson High School. By the time he was 17, he was a young father, and the responsibility made him take his music career seriously. In 2010, he started posting freestyles like Lamron Wasted on MySpace and YouTube, creating buzz in Chicago's budding drill scene. His first tape, I'm a Hitter, was released in 2011 and followed by I'm Still a Hitter and Life Ain't No Joke in 2011. Alongside Chief Keef, Durk became well known for his 2012 hit song L's Anthem, which was later remixed with French Montana. By 2013, the success of Durk's songs L's Anthem and This Ain't What You Want had the majors blowing up his phone, leading to a deal with Def Jam for his group Only the Family. His fourth mixtape, Signed to the Streets, which Rolling Stone named the 8th best mixtape of the year, featured Lil Ree and was produced by Young Chop, allowing Durk to have a melodic voice while still delivering that unadulterated street talk. Continued to rise with his first album, Remember My Name, 2015, which peaked at number 14 on the Billboard 200 thanks to songs like Me featuring Jeremy. His follow-up, Lil Durk 2X, 2016, featured heavyweights like Future, Young Thug, and DJ Loaf, but it peaked lower at number 29. After bouncing from Def Jam in 2018, Durk really started eating up his 2020 viral moment, which became his first Hot 100 entry as a lead artist. After that, he was featured on Drake's Laugh Now Cry Later and Pooh Shiesty's Back in Blood, his joint tape with Lil Durk. By 2023, Durk had become the most successful artist to come out of the drill scene, with a net worth of $8 million, secured by a $40 million Alamo deal, streaming checks, tour money, and side gigs like Durk Landry, Trucking LLC. However, as he was getting there, street life kept pulling him back. Durk steadily caught cases related to his gang affiliations and Chicago's violent environment in 2011. He was charged with a gun charge for owning a pole with his serial number was scratched off, leading to a plea to a lesser charge in 2013. He was booked again with a loaded .50 cal in Englewood in 2019, and he was involved in a shooting in Atlanta, though the charges were dropped. These incidents, along with the deaths of his family members, including his brother Dang, his manager, his cousin, and his man, King Vaughn, showed the high cost of Durk's continued involvement in the streets. Even as his career was taking off behind all the hits and sold-out shows, a deadly feud was simmering that would ultimately bring Durk down. On November 6, 2020, the last straw was the tension between Durk's camp and another up-and-coming rapper named Quando Rondo. After a fight with Quando, Durk's right-hand man, Snee, got murked outside an Atlanta club, and after Rondo's crew van allegedly ran up on Rondo, Tim Leaks, a friend of Rondo's, released shots that killed Van. Tim was charged with self-defense, but was released in 2021 after the DA ruled that it was self-defense. Both sides were reportedly incensed after Van was laid down, and Durk's 2022 song Aha and Rondo's End of Story were adding fuel to the fire with lyrics about Van's death and threats to get back. The feds say that apparently fell through, and the beef only got more intense. Durk, F's big homie, put a bag on Quando Rondo's head on August 19, 2022, offering bread and opportunities in the music industry to anyone in his circle who was willing to carry out the hit. 5 men, allegedly connected to FF Cavan London, Grant DeAndre Dantrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asa Houston, traveled from Chicago to Los Angeles on a mission to smoke Quando Rondo. They were pursuing Rondo and his cousin, Savia Lou Pab Robinson, who was traveling in a black Cadillac Escalade, armed with 2 rented whips. They have plastic linked to Durk's former manager, who arranged travel and lodging for the alleged hitman. Durk's text message to a friend that said, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Durk's private jet trip to California, with Grant on August 18, 2022, the day before the shooting, and bars from Durk's 2022 song, Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, with Babyface Ray, that they say alluded to the shooting. The squad let it spray, catching Lou Pab but missing Rondo. On October 24, 2024, Lil Durk was charged with conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, as well as using, carrying and discharging firearms, including a machine gun, in furtherance of a crime of violence. It would later be claimed by Durk's legal team that the lyrics were recorded before the incident, but the FBI found that Durk had booked one-way flights to Dubai and Switzerland, as well as a PJ to Italy after the 5 associates were arrested in Chicago. Thanks for watching, and the other boxes on the screen for more interesting videos. If found guilty, Durk might never touch road again. The musician who called himself the voice of Chicago is now quietly awaiting a trial that might determine whether he ever sees freedom again.